He says, do you want a position? No, I don't need no position. We're good. We got our own money. We're well off. And it was the servant that brought to the prophet's attention, she does not have a son. She does not have a child. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to change the misery of the house, because the house is big, but it's miserable because there is nobody to leave it to. There's a whole lot of money, but it's miserable because there is nobody for a transfer. Can I preach to some pastors in here and encourage your heart that God's about to bring joy to your miserable house, to the house that seems there's nobody raising up to be the heir apparent. Get ready, because God's about to drop seed in your hand that's not going to let your years of labor go down. Can I help my fellow brothers? Ain't no way God going to let you serve 20 and 30 years and it end with you. I need a pastor to find another pastor and say something is going to drop in my house that's going to preserve my house. I'm just about there. So the Bible declares that the prophet looked at her and said, I promise you, by this time next year, you will have a son. What's interesting to me is that the woman respectfully speaks back to the prophet and say, don't play no games with me. You know I really wanted a child, but I'm married to an old man, and y'all ain't hearing me. He's good company, but he's no deposits. And so then, when you begin to understand that the miracle is not about her, but the miracle is about him. And surely she got pregnant. And the Bible declares that at the time the man of God said, she birthed out a son. And here is the text. The baby lived through being a babe. The baby lived through being a suckling. The baby lived through asking of bread. The baby lived being weaned off his mother. There came a day when the baby was grown, when the baby could finally work. Isn't that just like the devil, that you have poured into something all your life, and now when it can finally pay you back, it decides it wants to die? Y'all ain't seeing the text. I done nursed you and took care of you, and the first day on the field, you have a heat stroke. So look at the process. The workers take them to the daddy, and then the daddy take them to the mama, and the mama rocks them until they die. We need to preach to the sisters over here and say, you know what it means to rock a dream till it dies. When the man gave up on it, you kept saying, I'm gonna nurse this thing until it come back to life. But oh, it died. And when it died, y'all don't hear me yet. When it died, I love her process. Y'all don't hear me. Because what happened, the worker took it to the dad. The dad took it to the mom. The mom took it to the prophet. Said, what we gonna do? We ain't calling the funeral home, but I'm gonna put him back in the bed of the man that gave me the word. I told him not to play with my feelings and not be prophesying no baby that I would end up losing. Y'all don't hear me yet. So here's the text. The text says that I need a servant to get an ass, to get a donkey. Why then do I need a donkey? Because a donkey symbolizes peace, suffering, but it also symbolizes a symbol of the contract. I need the prophet to know that when he see me riding up on a donkey, I came here to remind him his word. I got horses that would have got me here faster, but I didn't use them. I got on a donkey to remind them a covenant had been established. And that's why Jesus said, go find me a donkey and untie them. Because when I ride through the city, I get to let them know I am the fulfillment of the covenant that was spoken that I would come. So the Bible says that the woman reaches the house. I don't want to get in no trouble, but she did ask her husband. I ain't gonna bother that part. And the husband said, go. It ain't no new moon. It ain't no Sabbath. So I don't know how you're gonna find it. But I got something in me that realized I'm required to take this journey. And when the book said, just send out the prophet, find out what's wrong. Everything all right with your husband? Everything all right with your child? All is well. Would you wave at a neighbor and say, I can't tell you what I left at home on the bed dead, but I want you to know all is well. I can't tell you what's broke up in my life right now, but I'm gonna call those things and be known as though they were. All is well. And the book said that something happened. She grabbed onto the prophet, and the prophet said, wait a minute, something ain't right here. Something has happened, and the Lord did not reveal it. Don't get mad at me now, but I'm here to tell you tonight, there's a season God's not gonna tell your pastor what's going on in your life, because it's a required journey that you gonna have to take. Y'all ain't gonna like my preaching, but we've spoiled this generation with prophecies and promises. I wasn't raised on prophecies. I was raised on Friday night pastoral teaching. Sit yourself down and get ready to suffer. Because if you cease from sin, you're going to suffer in the flesh. They put something in me that let me know that this is a suffering way. And everything ain't going to go the way you want it. But we got folk now that'll leave God and leave church because somebody didn't speak. They lost a car when the old church, y'all ain't hearing my preaching. My mama and daddy were never married, so please forgive me. I know they was in the church, but they had a situation that wasn't right. So I was with my mom sometimes and with my dad sometimes. Dad had a car. Mom didn't have a car. And mama said, we're going to church. I say, how we getting there? Brother and sister Walker. I say, I don't know them, who they are. She said, look at your feet and let's go. Y'all don't hear me yet? That's what's wrong with us. We have no ability to suffer. We have no ability to endure hardness as a good soldier. But surely there's a journey that's required that you ain't gonna dance. There's a journey that's required that you'll be broken in your heart. But you got to know how to say, trouble in my way. Have to cry sometime. So much trouble. Have to cry sometime. I lay awake at night, but that's all right. Jesus. Jesus. He's gonna fix it after a while. And surely the Bible said he sent his staff and he sent his servant. And sometimes we got to break protocol and say, I don't mean no harm, But the servant didn't give me the word. You did. I need you to wave up to God and say, Lord, I appreciate every voice in my life. But you said my children gonna be saved. You said my body gonna be healed. You said my church is gonna grow. You said the marriage is gonna be saved. Will you wave at him and say, Lord, I want to remind you, grass wither, flowers fade, but the word of the Lord stand forever. You went on in the room. I got to go. Eyes on this watch. Went in the room. Y'all don't hear me. Laid there, and the servant knew the process. Y'all still ain't hearing me. We need folk with us that know the process. Nowhere in the text did the servant ask, what you want me to do? He knew the process. He knew the training. Go up there, eye to eye, hand to hand, mouth to mouth. Come back to the pastor. Ain't nothing happened. He's still dead. All right. It's a case for my heavy anointing. It's a case for double. And the prophet went in and began to remind God his word. Can I help you? God don't like looking bad. I said, God don't like looking bad. And sometimes he'll heal you just for his glory. And he'll bring you out so folk can't say he let you die. That's what Moses did. Moses reversed it on God and said, Lord, if you let us die out here in this wilderness, what would they say about you? Anybody here that can say, I've been bragging on God and he got to do it because his name is out there? Would you look at a neighbor all the way in the back and say, neighbor, I've been bragging on God. I've been telling coworkers he can do anything. I've been telling family members he can turn it around. He got to do it. His name is on the line. His reputation is on the line. And I'm here to report it's getting ready to happen. I ain't got nobody to go with me. Would you wave at your neighbor and act like you go to my church and say it's getting ready to happen? It's getting ready to happen. If people don't believe it, find you somebody that'll wave back and say it's getting ready to happen. I've seen the lightning flash. I heard the thunder roar. I felt sin breakers dashing, trying to conquer my soul. But I heard the voice of Jesus telling me to fight on. He promised never to leave me. Never to leave me alone. And the prophet said hand to hand. Hand to hand is accomplishment. Eye to eye is vision. Mouth to mouth is spirit. And I close with this because get ready. God's getting ready to give strength back to your hand. Our leader has given us the thing, the mission made possible. Stick your hand up to God and say, strengthen